Want to save money when starting a business? Try this 10 tips. Serial entrepreneurs know that every cent counts when you are starting a business. Everything from computer software to office space and equipment costs money, not to mention the personnel needed to operate and keep the company running. If you are a startup founder, watch this show to learn a few proven ways you can preserve cash flows, reduce expenses, and give your business a chance to become quickly profitable. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic because I'm doing marvelous. If you are doing as fantastic as I'm doing, please go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today, I want to talk to you about 10 tips you can use to save money when starting a business. Number 1, use open source software. Now, much of the software a business uses has been recreated by volunteers in the open source community. So open source refers to the non-proprietary nature of a product. In other words, it's free or it's much less expensive than similar commercial software. Now, point of sale software, accounting and bookkeeping software, and many others are available. Keep in mind when using open source software that there may be limited or no official support. Because you're not paying for it, they're not going to support you. So support can usually be acquired from community forums in the form of other users. When you're looking to save on initial purchases, known as the initial outlay, open source can help you get started. Number 2, find discounts. You got to spend some time in looking for discounts because it is generally cheaper to buy in bulk than individually. So when you talk to your suppliers, see if they offer discounts for bulk buys. So if your supplier, for example, is not willing to negotiate or offer discounts, you may be able to find one that does. So you got to be very strategic in choosing your supplier. Don't limit yourself to local suppliers. I understand this is the bane of a lot of small business owners, startup founders. They want to go to the guy next door. No. Because using local suppliers is good for the local economy because money is kept in the surrounding economy, increasing your sales opportunity. However, you may be able to find suppliers that offer discount or on shipping and bulk that cost less than local suppliers. So you got to do the math. You have to understand, you have to strike a good balance between your need and your willingness to support the local economy versus your willingness to preserve your company, to make your company quickly profitable. Besides using open source software and finding discounts, you can also track your cash flow. This is a great, and research has backed it up. Several years ago, there was an article in the Harvard Business Review that showed how tracking your cash flow is a great way to save money. Now, tracking your cash flow can save your business from paying late fees, for example, or missing bill payments. As a business owner, you will hear repeatedly that cash flow is important. Liquidity is essential. So most small businesses that fail to do so because they run out of cash. You might want to consider tracking your cash flow from the first period of operations. Remember that cash pays your expenses before you generate revenues. It also covers unforeseen expenses that crop up. So the statement, a great way to start tracking your cash flows in a startup is something called a statement of cash flows. This is great because it is very simple, but it is wonderful in allowing you to follow your cash. You are able to use the statements on a monthly basis as well as manually. Some small business owners and startup founders like to even have a weekly statement of cash flow so they can monitor things more periodically. Some have it on a quarterly basis, some have it on a biannual, so it doesn't have to be only monthly or annually. All that is needed in your monthly financial data to determine where your business cash is and if you have enough money. Now, let's talk about the statement of cash flow a little bit. That statement has 3 categories. You have the cash flow from operating activities, cash flow from investing activities, and cash flow from financing activities. You, depending upon the industry you're in, you may want to focus on your operating cash flow because that's what really tells you whether your business or startup is healthy enough. Now, when it comes to financing activities, that's everything that injects money into the company, whether you took out a loan or you issued private, you had no investors coming in because you issued stocks. This is where you put the financing. Either way, at the end of the day, by tracking your cash flows more periodically and more closely, you'll be able to survive and save money, especially in the initial stages of your business. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are still having a conversation around how to save money when starting a business. I'm giving you here 10 tips. I've already given you 3. Let's move on to number 4. But before I do so, if you love the clarity and quality of the content so far, please consider subscribing to our channel. We are a wonderful team. We work collectively. We love what we're doing. And please turn on the notification bell so you can be informed whenever the Sweetie Kiwi team drops a new show. And we do this every single day, rain or shine. Also, comment below, share this content, and like it. Number 4, find used equipment. I know some people people love the shiny aspect of new equipment, but listen, when starting out, resources such as cash are very scarce. So there are methods of acquiring the equipment you need to operate at reduced cost. So when considering equipment, you want to assess the used equipment market. Small businesses closed for a variety of reasons, leaving you an opportunity to capitalize on their misfortune. Government auctions are another place to look and are much more convenient than in the past. They even have online government auctions. So government auction sites such as GSA auctions are host to many used governmental, industrial, and service items small businesses could use. Generally, they post pictures and video of the items being auctioned so you can view the condition it's in. Number 5, outsource. I'll say this over and over and over. You need to outsource. You may not find the talent you need for your business locally. So if this is the case, outsourcing is a great option. Outsourcing is a method of paying a person or other organization to complete tasks for you. And this can be cheaper than hiring an employee, and established firms will have some talents you can rely on before you begin hiring your own, especially when you're hiring people overseas. For example, in India or other countries where the cost of labor is low, you would notice that the impact on your cash flows is very positive. As a matter of fact, you can even go to certain websites that specialize in this kind of service, and they will give you a good ROI. Number 6, virtualize your office. If you want to save cash, don't pay rent. Don't get an office at the beginning. In the first 6 months to 1 year, you can work from home. Everybody can work from home. So technology allows you to not to be tethered to one location if your business allows for it. So start your business from your home and use technology to connect to your employees, target audience, and customers. So once you have established your customer base and can spare the cash, you can move your business to an office or a commercial building. As a matter of fact, we even have seen in the industry that you don't have to move on to a commercial building or an office right away. If you decide to leave the house, you can still move to something called a co-working space, right? That way you are sharing the risk and rent with other co-workers. And those have become very convenient the last 5 years. As a matter of fact, you can even rent an entire office for a day or two. Let's say you want to meet investors, you can rent that office for that day, and they'll take care of everything. They will take care of the arrangements. They will provide food if needed, and that is just a lot better than trying to bear the permanent cost of rent every single month. Another thing you want to do is do incremental increases. So you always want to start your business small, be as lean as possible. And you want to establish slowly increasing your goals to grow your customer base. So once you have established your business and are operating well and sales are coming, you may find that you are able to spend a little more. this may be the time for you to address equipment upgrades or new hires, right? You can even look into changes like different products or services, or even expand into other product portfolios. Incremental increases give you an opportunity to measure the effectiveness of each step of the change before investing more capital for the next step. Think of this as an A/B testing, right? You know, when you have to place an ad on a platform, for example, on Facebook, you want to do an A/B testing. You want to have two types of ads and see which one works better. And then the one that works better, you just increase the investment on that one. It's the same thing here. You start little, you do incremental, gradual increases. So smaller steps will also limit the losses should a change not go as planned. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are still talking about 10 tips. I'm giving you 10 tips that will help you save money when starting a new business, Number 8, use bartering. Now, bartering means that two business owners, let me just say very simply, bartering between business owners and customers is still a useful technique for multiple parties, especially when they want to acquire something they need. Now, it means you are exchanging services, you are exchanging goods, you're exchanging whatever it is. There is no monetary exchange here. This may not be a method you can use upfront unless you have assets you can barter with from other ventures, but once established, you might be able to swap services or unused equipment with a similar business in the area that needs it. Suppliers. You need to be very careful with suppliers. So if your business is going to be generating products to sell, you're going to need to find suppliers for your materials. The raw materials. So you want to really shop around for suppliers. You want to compare and contrast their offer. You want to compare the products with your needs. You want to compare the pricing to find if it falls in line with your budget. So once you're able to identify the suppliers you can work with, see if they will establish partnerships with you, right? Some suppliers can even give you a line of credit after you have dealt with them for a time, say 6 months or 12 months. This is similar to a credit card. A line of credit is just the ability to pay at the end of a period for the products or services you have purchased. So a supplier can give you a 2-month or a quarterly line of credit. So you buy it, say, in bulk for the whole quarter from January to March 31st, and you only pay on March 31st. So everything you buy, let's say you placed 25 transactions or 25 orders in that period, in that 90-month day period, you only pay on March 31st. That's wonderful because it helps you stabilize your cash flows. Now, discretionary expenses are another avenue where you can save money when starting a business. Discretionary expenses are costs you do not necessarily have to pay at a particular moment. That's why discretionary, it means that it's optional. You may not even need the expenses at all. So you want to work through your expenses list and determine the expenses you can reduce or get rid of. All right. So this is it, folks. I hope the conversation was useful to you. Here is a recap. 10 tips you can use right away if you want to save money when starting a business. Use open source software. Find discounts. Track your cash flows. Find used equipment. Outsource. Virtualize your office. Do incremental increases. Use bartering. Negotiate with suppliers. And track discretionary expenses. I will see you next time. But until then, stay marvelous.